the timeline of Arians' decision is part of a huge conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That, as you know, was born in February by Brady's initial decision to retire. And the idea was Arians and he were not getting along. So let's place that aside for the moment and just get directly into the timeline as best you can tell of when Arians decided and how the announcement came about to retire. Sam.
Yeah. So the days do run together. I was talking in the green room to somebody, and I thought it was the weekend right now. So forgive me if my days run together, but it was almost a week, probably a week ago, maybe, that I knew this was going to be coming down the pike. And, Peter and I were careful not to work too much in tandem. We are competitors, but we had a timeout, an interview with Bruce. And so that was, I think, on Saturday.
Right. But I'm talking about Arians' decision.
Arians' decision. Well, I mean, if you listen to Bruce, Bruce talks about wanting to retire after last season and really flirting with the idea of retiring after winning the Super Bowl and going out on top. And then Jake, his son, really convinced him to come back and make another run at it. And so he did. And I think that Bruce was considering retiring right after the season, certainly after the Super Bowl, watching the Super Bowl. And, so Tom retired. When Tom came back, to hear Bruce tell it, that set up Todd Bowles with a team that was a competitor, the Super Bowl competitive team. And so Bruce felt like good about handing it off. But I think Bruce was going regardless.
So, but why wait till March? You know what I'm saying? Like, why, if he's going to go?
So when the window does close, the interview window closes, he's able to directly hand the team to Todd Bowles as opposed to going through the whole interview process. And it locks in all the assistant coaches.
Interesting.
It's he felt bad about the way he retired in Arizona because he wanted James Betcher to be the coach. Steve Wilkes got the job. Cardinals went 3-13, and Wilkes lasted one season. But that whole staff got blown out. And so he said by waiting, he was able to, the window closed. I don't know if this was his plan or this was just a happy accident that Todd Bowles could get the job. They wouldn't have to go through the whole process, the interview process, and those guys would be locked in. Those assistants would be locked in. But it is a mystery. It's, people are going to put two and two together. They're going to speculate about that. And, I don't think Tom's ever going to come out and say that this was a quid pro quo or I'll come back if Bruce isn't there. And Bruce certainly isn't saying that. So I think there's going to be that speculation.
Well, it's the exact opposite. I mean, you look at his Twitter. I mean, he's tweeting out his Instagram and all of his posts. Brady sends like a big love letter to Bruce Arians, who I think even responded on Brady's Instagram account with his, famed "thanks, brother" with his emoji of his drinking glass. And so and Arians was very vehement when I think it was former player Rich Orenberger tweeted out that Arians and Brady were not at all on the same page, that Arians was, kind of sticking his nose in the game plan that Brady and Leftwich had concocted. I mean, like that is the narrative. So is there any smoke in that? Is there any, fire behind that smoke?
Not from my reporting with Bruce, but again, I wouldn't anticipate that he would. Now, I asked him about that. Are you leaving? Is this part of Tom coming back? And what was your relationship like with Tom? And he said, listen, I've got friction with every quarterback I've coached, whether it's Peyton, whether it's Tim Couch, whether it's Andrew Luck, Bruce or Ben Roethlisberger. Because I cuss every one of them out. And there's going to be, and you've got two guys in in Brady and Bruce, you got a guy who's almost 45, a quarterback who's almost 45, a coach who's almost 70, which tells you they're both going to be set in their ways.
Yes.
And know that they have a way that they like to do things and have things done. And they're both always going to be on the bubble of retirement. And so, again, I think this speculation will live on forever, but I don't think either guy is going to betray that. It's going to be someone who was a third party to that, witnessing that and saying that. But I haven't heard that compelling case yet.
Because the timeline that you have laid out, and Arians has laid out, and the Bucs have laid out, and your reporting with Peter King has laid out, does have Brady saying farewell, right? And does have Arians around the beginning of March thinking, maybe this is going to be it. Then Brady comes back, and then 2 weeks later, Arians steps aside and Bowles is gone. That does leave enough air in there for a Brady, I'm not coming back if Arians is coming back.
Yeah.
And then things work in motion where Arians is like, you know what? This could be perfect timing then. Like, I don't want to have what happened in Arizona to have happened here. I can make all the maneuvers and push the levers to make sure my guys are taken care of. I'm now going to go in the front office. I leave here, my head held high. He's not in a hospital because I know that's part of his concern is his health concerns.
Right.
And it's a win-win all around. Like, is that a possible sort of scenario?
Yeah, I don't think
we don't traffic in this sort of thing,
right.
But this is the stuff that is being trafficked right now.
I don't think the timeline precludes that. My reporting at this time has not led me there, but has not barred the possibility of that. I just, don't have independent reporting that supports that this was an arrangement where, Tom, I can certainly see if you want to follow the breadcrumbs there, you can see that. But, at least as far as I know, I can't say that I can't connect those two with a direct line.
Sure. And then because the timeline does also allow for the idea that Brady on his own decides to retire because he just doesn't know. And then he goes through his 6 weeks of walkabout or, hanging out or what have you.
Yeah.
And he decides, you know what, I really want to come back. And at the same time, Arians is going through all of this stuff. And he's like, if I wait till after March, hey, this can actually help out where I set everybody up. And those two actually come to what? Glazer's attention or Light's attention. And voila, you've got Brady back and Arians now gone. And Arians and Brady genuinely like each other. And that Instagram account is all flat out like what it intends to be.
Right. I mean, I guess the two really strange elements of this, that the puzzle pieces that might not fit is, Tom walking away after, being in the MVP conversation and coming so close and playing so well, belying his age as we've seen that, and picking up velocity when he came to Tampa. It really seemed like he got better as opposed to some of the other quarterbacks at the end of their careers, and Peyton and Drew Brees, and losing velocity. And Bruce walking away from a team with Tom Brady and a chance to win another Super Bowl and maybe cement his Canton legacy. That is going to be part of the big mystery. But it's going to have to be somebody else who steps up and is ready to pass along that information, because I haven't gotten that, but I've certainly heard the speculation.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.